Okay. All right, so I'm gonna call to order the meeting of the North Smithfield Town Council acting as the Municipal Building Review Task Force. First thing up is the open the meeting prayer, and we'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, roll call. So John. Here. Paulette.
Here.
Me here. And let the record reflect that President Alves will be here shortly. So next up is open forum for agenda items only pursuant to 4246-6D, maximum of 3 minutes. There's nobody in the audience at this time, so we'll move on. Discussion, vote, or other action on priority list of repairs at police station. First up is review of walkthrough by the RI Interlocal Trust and next steps.
Okay, if I may,
yep.
I probably defer to Mr. Pendergast or the administrator, who were both at the walkthrough, and if you want to just give us a brief update of what transpired and what we went through, so we can inform the public.
I'll buck up. Odds or evens?
It was a good meeting. What's his name?
Yeah, just say the trust.
The trust.
Huh.
We're pleased that everything is online. Everything that they've asked to be corrected, for the most part, it has been corrected. The emergency stuff that they had indicated a while ago. I think not part of that meeting was that they just need to be kept up to date for any future improvements. We told them that that the council is going to see, I guess, what the next steps are for not emergency repairs, but any other type of repairs moving forward. But I mean,
yeah, Council, you were there. The trust was happy with the results to date. The sidewalks had been repaired, the ramp had been repaired, the entrance door had been replaced, the antenna had been securely remounted to the back of the building, the front facade was all in good shape. The leaking of, it wasn't really part of their report, but the chief had took care of a situation where some of the drainage internally was broken. He had it taken care of very quickly. So they're happy with the progress that's being made, and there's more progress to be made.
Great.
But you were there. Is there anything?
Yeah, no, I think they were surprised that we got everything done. You know, having the roof done and the whole roof done was another thing. So they were happy that the envelope of the building, I think, you know, and the sidewalk and the ramp and you know, so I think the things that they were most worried about in terms of liability seem to be corrected, and you know, so good for us, and it helps our, you know, our deductible, so we don't have to have an increased deductible if there is an incident that happens at the police station. So all good stuff. So great, thank you for being there, both of you. Appreciate it. And also you, Chief, I know you were there. Do you have anything else to add to the walkthrough?
Not really. Everything that the major issues that were an issue that was brought that you can easily see with the facade in the roof, the leaks have been addressed, especially the cracks in the concrete and the ramp. That's been addressed. Door has been replaced. Now it's just moving forward and knocking off certain things one at a time. But like I said, the major things that they said in the letter, we're done. But there's a few things left that we still need to do.
Okay. Thank you very much. President?
Review of punch list completion by Dubon, next steps. So I believe we received an email, right, that he's going out there next week on Monday?
Who's coming out?
Dubon.
Dubon Masonry is coming out?
Yeah, he sent an email today saying that he's going to be out there, I think, on Monday to touch base with you about next steps of the punch list.
Okay,
So you'll see, I think he emailed you.
right.
So then maybe we can just get, a time frame of how long it will take him to finish everything.
Is there someone from Tecton? Who's like the clerk of the works for that? Is just,
I think it's
we're just
Rebecca.
walking them through?
Rebecca,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Still, until all the, oh, I'm terribly sorry, until all the, the punch list is completed. And I want to thank you for sending out photos of that. Well, the front, which I think, we've looked at it, when we went the last time, it looked exactly the way it does now, so everyone's kind of thinking how much, else needs to be done. We need to put back some landscaping, we need to fix that sprinkler head, bring the Bushy School sign to DPW, affix that other concrete sign, I think that, on the premises itself, so there's some, aesthetic work that needs to be done, right, in the front of the building.
oh, yeah. Well, I haven't seen them, like I said, a little less than a month.
It's
And I know Ray's workers are gonna come out pretty soon because the grass is starting to grow, the rain, it's getting warmer.
been a while.
And
Right,
I don't want all that stuff to hinder the cutting the grass. But there's some substantial landscaping that they're gonna need to,
right.
fix and whatnot. I just wanted to keep, everyone abreast of the situation.
No, that was good. It's good to have a pictorial approach to it because you don't realize, and
No.
we don't all go by there very frequently, so.
And if they're coming by Monday, I know I saw, there's been a bunch of emails. If they're gonna come by Monday, that's great.
yeah, and I think he sent an email to you too, Ray.
But are they
about-
coming to work, or are they just coming to look at it?
I think on Monday, they're going to come and just meet with you and kind of go through the punch list. But they
Okay.
also did tell Ray that he's going to bring his, what is it?
So he contacted me this afternoon, and once I think the chief, they put their thing together, within a week or two, they're gonna come back with the skid steer, and we're gonna use one of our trailers, transport all that stuff for safekeeping at the DPW facility.
Okay, and the other thing I want to make sure we're on the record is that they're going to take down, at least, maybe not put back up, but take down the ceiling tiles that had infiltration from when the roof was put in.
Well, that was part of his email to you, Chief.
Dubon.
Yeah,
Okay,
but I think you also copied Rebecca on that too, right, to see, okay, so,
Yeah, I just wanna make sure everyone knows what's going on.
Right.
How much money was left,
In contingency,
or
right.
left back for. I'm kind of familiar with construction projects in that respect, where money's held back to any follow-up issues that occurred like this as an ancillary issue.
right.
And I had an HVAC guy in the station today, and we had popped some ceiling tiles out, and I got up there, and I was like,
oh, is that how you took those pictures?
yeah, I got in a ladder and went in the crawl space, because you can hear it the whole time. And it is what it is. And they went up there and they were just ripping through it, and there was nothing more you could do. But, I didn't think it was fair for the highway department to stop flipping those tiles, and it's a mess. It really needs to be cleaned up before, and however they're gonna fix it or correct it, they did it, it's-
Mhm.
And are those ceiling tiles the ones that are in the hallway?
It's everything on the L-shaped side, the north side of the building. So if you look
Okay.
at the two buildings, one building's like that, one's like that, one's south and north. It's the north side. The south one, I don't know if the structure is the same. I think the roof is the subroof of that side of the building is directly exposed to the top of the ceiling tiles with a 6-foot crawl space. So the other side, there's like a 3-foot crawl space, blown-in insulation, and then the ceiling, and then the ceiling tile.
Okay,
So it's not directly, only that side of the building's directly. So it's all the offices, lieutenants, captains,
Oh.
my office, the
Figures.
administrative aide, the hallway to access dispatch. The dispatch center is not affected because that's on that side.
okay.
Yeah, it only happened on that side. And again, on the old town annex side, there's asbestos on top of there anyway, so no one can really do anything with that
Mhm.
until it's paid.
Okay, well, that'll be good, so just let us know how that works, you know, over the next couple of weeks after they get there on Monday. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? John, do you have any questions? No, review of 2014 Studio Meja plans, addition of Sallyport.
I think that's up to us to determine if there was a, we're supposed to find out.
Madam President, I
Yeah.
think on these, we have to find out if we can use it's all, I guess the devil's in the details in the contract with Studio Meja way back,
Yeah.
what, 2014? And whether or not we can use those plans that they
They're
provided.
proprietary.
And if we can, if we can have Tecton look at them,
I asked the solicitor, and he said, you know, that they are proprietary, but we can have someone else look at them, we just can't have someone use them. So if we were to say to Tecton, here, we want to use them, that they would have to build up, you know, draw up their own and stamp their own, because
Okay.
they're already stamped. But we can have someone look at them and basically just give us their opinion, but to give them to someone and have them use them, we can't do
Okay.
that.
and from my understanding, is the chief and the former chief are the ones that went around with them, with suggesting the location and how everything was going to be laid out, so.
Yes,
If you're comfortable with that, with that set of plans,
I am, and what I want to do is for the town council, for, you know, the building committee, the residents of North Smithfield, those plans were developed from 2015 through 2017. And that square footage with that design, it's a complete design, and you know exactly what the square footage is, less the Sallyport, which I strongly advise to have, is that even if you can't use them for a bid, stamped blueprint for a bid, could we use them for an estimator to do the estimation with with the management written into it, the contingency? Because that was the expertise of Tecton. And, you know, I have an article here from NRI with Gloucester Police, and Secosha did the same thing, Gloucester's doing the same thing North Smithfield is, and their new building came up to be $17,348,393, and the renovation was $15,046,570.
I thought
So
it was
like I said-
8.4, so I thought it was supposed to be 8.4 million.
Right.
Right.
It's, what, the issue is that I think the town needs to get a handle on, this is what it's gonna cost to do a full renovation of the building, which I highly suggest we do. But we have to, this is the only plan that has the exact curtain wall of that building totally transformed into a police department from inside, right? Without the Sallyport, which I want, which I think we need. But since it's already been done, we paid for it, we have it. It doesn't appear like a new building is gonna cost any less, which we already went down that road. But at least the building committee and the town council will know that even with this plan and this design, this is what it's gonna cost. I think it's a starting block, because that's what everyone's been saying at these meetings, that the 3 or 4 people that were against the new building wanted this design, that Studio Meja design, to go forward. My argument, or my discussion, not even an argument, is, okay, but it comes down to square footage and the cost. Let's use Studio Meja's print and let's see what it costs.
Why, wouldn't it make more sense to have Studio Meja get a cost estimate, right? And then if you have, I think on here, we're talking about Tecton at some point. Okay, so I won't go too far, but have them oversee as, you know.
I really don't care, like Secosha does it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think we should
who,
have them do it.
it is who does it, because it needs to be complete with contingencies, management, inflation, and all that. Because when you go for a bond, it's not just like, you know, pulling a mortgage. This is a bond that's set with interest and whatnot. So you really don't want to go under. You want to be having at least a little over. That's why they projected so much last time with the
So-
percentage of contingency. But what I'm saying is that we have a package to draw from, to get at least, all right, this is what it's going to cost for 100% renovation of this building with only that one addition of the sally port, which is a garage, so the square footage cost is less because there's less in it. I think it'd be a starting block for the town and the town council and the building committee to say, okay, this is this cost. The only other alternative you have is to just, room by room, section by section of the building to renovate it, or to fix it, or to go budget by budget, capital by capital. I know there's money here now in a grant, but again, the town needs to make a decision that they're gonna go forward with a full renovation, this is what it's gonna cost, and everyone stands behind it. If you get the price back of a total renovation, and it's not what everybody wants, then I think you're gonna have to fix it's gotta be brought up to par,
So the
regardless.
problem is, I think the people that voted, that didn't want the new building, were thinking that we could have a renovation for $6 or $8 million. And I don't think that's gonna come to fruition. I think it's gonna be a lot more than $6 or $8 million.
Right, but you have to find out, because you do have a print readily available that you can send to an estimator to say, okay, this is what the design is, this is what it's gonna cost.
So, I will volunteer to get in touch with Studio Meja if you want, and ask them what the cost would be for a cost estimating, and then bring that back to the meeting, in the next meeting, and get approval on that, if it's a reasonable amount, and then we'll have a dollar amount to go on. And I think the worst thing that happens is, you might be right about the cost, but at least we have a plan, right? At least we have a plan that we know in today's dollars, if we do X, this is what it's gonna cost us, right? So even if we had to break it into, not do a complete project all at once, if we had to break it down because of costs, because we don't have the money, because we can't go to bond, because people have said, just renovate it, right? So if that cost is too high and we have to go room by room, at least we'll have a report that tells us, okay, this room is gonna cost this much to do now, right? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense, or no?
Yeah, but I think if we start going room by room, I think we may run the risk of paying more over
I
time.
think you're right on that.
I think
Yeah.
if it's
I
like,
think you're right.
say it does come back and it's say 10 or north of 10, and then, takes 6 years and how many councils, and, you're
Yep.
just gonna be continuously fighting over funds. I think whatever number comes in, we need to make a decision. I don't think we can keep extending this into the future, because it's only gonna get more expensive.
Yeah, and the other thing is, as we talk about other things on the agenda, some of the grants have a timeline, right? So if we're gonna use those grants, we have to make sure that we at least get things rolling so that we can qualify for them, so.
Well, maybe we get in touch with Studio Meja and we review those again, but maybe instead of going with construction administration services, maybe now, since it's kind of a renovation, we go to a project manager, or, because, Tecton, if we're gonna be using someone else's drawings, is it really?
Well, they would have to work in conjunction with Tecton. Tecton would have to oversee the project, if it's something that is a reasonable cost, and we
Yeah, but
can
I'm
do
just
it.
wondering, why would we pay Tecton rates when maybe we could,
Oh, I
go
see.
out for
I
a
see what
project
you mean. I'm
manager
sorry.
that would handle the project, rather than, Tecton is good at what they do and they're expensive, so I'm just wondering, with this project, that we go to a project manager or someone that can handle it and try and save in that area a little bit.
So go out for an RFQ.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
because I don't know if we really need to have a company be the administrator, when we could just have someone who would be the, oversee the whole project, and it goes through that person. It just might help alleviate some of the costs, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what happened at the last bond with Studio Meja. We had a clerk of the works that came on too late.
Yeah.
Should have been on a lot earlier to kind of guide,
Work together,
yeah, putting everything together, like what
Mm-hmm.
was really needed, like the FFE and I think that's you need a person right on the get-go to coordinate everything,
Right.
you know, because we all have different jobs, and as a chief, I help out, I meet this person, meet that person, but there's still, you know, running a project is a lot more, you know, involved, especially with someone that knows how to read prints, how to deal with subcontractors, how to deal with general contractors,
Right.
engineers, designers, especially someone that designs police buildings. So that's where that whole mantra came from with just make sure you get somebody that has experience building these kinds of buildings, because there's a lot of, there's so many different parts of a police building that aren't a normal building, a normal municipal building.
Yeah, and I would, I don't have a problem using Studio Meja's plans, but as far as having Studio Meja oversee the project, or I would really rather have a company or an individual that has experience building police stations.
Well, I think then you're running the risk of having to go out again, because nobody's gonna use somebody else's plans.
Well, it's not someone, I mean, if we use Studio Meja plans, they're the ones who, they were the architect, but we still can have somebody come in and oversee the project. It's
Is
not,
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I
yeah, and
misunderstood.
last time it wasn't a representative of Studio,
Right, right, yeah.
Studio Meja. What that person is, that
Correct.
person, he or she represents the town.
town.
And they're like the watchdog,
Right.
they're like the inspector, they just make sure everything's complete. Like this job here with the stuff in the front of the station, they would make a phone call, hey, you gotta get over here, you gotta get these things done, and don't forget about the sprinkler that got broken, and you gotta do this, and when's this gonna get caulked? And they kinda, you know, they do the little things that's needed on a job
Right.
to just make it run.
Yeah, so I think if you would like me to, I can reach out to Studio Meja, find out what the cost would be, to find out what a renovation cost is in $2024. Is that okay?
I'm still confused about their experience and how accurate they're gonna be if they don't have any experience building police stations.
Well, I mean, the chief and the previous chief and everyone is satisfied with that plan.
yes.
Right, that's all I'm saying. So just ask, well, they would be able to tell us what the cost escalation are. And
But
then-
what they usually do
and
is
then-
they sub that out, just like
Right,
Tecton.
right, but
They
I
have a
mean, I need to
division of their
find out how
company.
much
Yeah, and
that
I don't
is.
even know if Studio Meja is still, are they still a company now, or are they?
Oh, yeah. Well, not Studio Meja, it's,
Eric Army.
yeah, but it's a different name.
It's a different name?
Right.
So basically, that's an independent person that just says, this is
Correct.
what,
That's
and you
right.
can get more than one. You can send a print to two estimators.
You don't even need an architect. It's ideal to have one, but you technically don't even need one to get a cost estimate.
Right.
No,
We don't
not
even need to
exactly.
involve
No, you-
100%.
Or anybody.
You already have you have the plan. You
Well,
just give it to a company to
So do we
estimate the
know any
cost.
cost estimators? Because, I mean, I don't mind calling him and asking him if he can give us some. I don't want to go out to an RFQ for
Well,
that.
And I'd call Tecton too and say,
Right.
if they sub that out, because the way Jeff was speaking, because he went to his estimators. I don't know if he went to them within his company or went to them, they were, you know, a partner with his company
Right, or
to
a sub.
come up
Yeah.
with these projections, right? And
Okay.
like, again, I don't know if Secoshia uses a different estimator or they use their own.
But I just.
And I
think
just
if-
use that as an example because
Yeah.
they were the latest
I
ones.
think
that-
if we reach out to Tecton, then we're gonna have to, get into a new contract, and I don't know if that's the road we wanna go down right now, because.
That's your decision.
Yeah, because that's, you know, we're pretty much done, they've done the project, so, you know, if we were gonna bring Tecton back on, we would need to, decide what kind of scope we were looking for, and they were gonna give us a new contract, so,
Right.
So I think, should we just find out what the cost of the project is as a renovation? And then we can determine, right?
Mm-hmm. At least we have a
Because
ballpark.
then, if it's 8 million or 10 million,
But do you have a ballpark though? Because those plans are a decade old, right? So building codes have changed. I
no,
know
that's
they've
what I'm
ch-
saying.
Right,
Cost
so,
estimator would have to provide us with 2024.
no, I'm saying, who would see that there's a 2024 and then the code that was applicable in 2024, is that still applicable in
Right,
today's world,
Well,
right?
that would
So
have to be all
I
part
think
of-
they're using like 2018 standards now, so like if, and then at what threshold do you have to start worrying about ADA? And do you have to start worrying about bringing the whole building up to current code as part of a percentage of a rehab? So,
No, I think they would know all that, because there's a difference between building, a new building and renovating, very different standards, right? So they would know all that.
But there's also different types of renovating, I think, and then there's different threshold. I think Jeff was alluding to it in one of our earlier calls that, you know, if you start to get up to a certain percentage, then it doesn't matter what you do for a rehab, the whole thing has to be brought up to standard.
Well,
So I
mean,
think we
could-
need to know that, because if we say it's $6 million in 2014 plans to in 2024 dollars, but the plans need to be redone at any point,
Oh, no,
there's a
no,
potential
no.
cost out there.
Right, no, we would have to make sure that, I believe anyway, that the plans that we have, if there are any adjustments to be made for standards that have changed in the last several years, and I think that has to be included.
And there may be none, but I
and-
just
but
think you
at
would have
least
to
it
know
has
that
be
first.
addressed. Right, good point.
I mean, yeah, and that would be a question for Eric Almy, right? He should be able
Right.
to know that.
So let me just reach out to him and then I can bring back information to you and you can decide what you. what we
Yeah,
can
I
all
mean, even
decide
if
what
he
we
wants
do.
to come to our next meeting and we can all have a discussion, I mean, whatever, you know, whatever.
Just to find out what the cost is.
So we can have an open discussion with him, and that might be some questions we can ask him right there, you know?
Yeah, because I still worry about, I know I've said all along, I do think whoever oversees this project, I agree, needs to have some type of experience in public safety.
Yeah, and I think you're right about an RFQ going out for that kind of person. That would have to be in that RFQ. You have to be very specific about, you know, what requirements of that.
Like, I don't think Eric would pass the RFQ. He would not pass, because you would have to weight it on, have you designed a public safety complex? And if the answer is no, that has to be your highest weight.
Well, let's see what the cost is first,
Right.
because, you know, honestly, let's be honest, if it's too expensive, we gotta do it, as the chief said, unfortunately, budget to budget, and grant to grant, so,
Yeah, I mean, we have to start somewhere.
yeah.
So,
All right, well, let me, if you want me to, I'll do that, and at least we'll get that ball rolling, yes?
yeah, if he'll talk to you.
If you'll talk to me, that's a good point.
I mean, the last meeting didn't, you know,
Okay,
all right, so you're gonna reach out to him?
do we need to vote on that, or just, no? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, okay, I will then.
Okay. Discussion, vote or other action on renovation plan and review of existing plans. I think we kind of already exhausted that, right? We're kind of already going to do that. And discussion, vote or other action for proposal from Tecton to continue with construction administration services. I don't know, I think that could be on hold for now. And they really haven't come to us with anything either, and we've asked them a few times, and I just feel like the communication is getting harder from Tecton. I mean, you've sent Rebecca some emails, and, you know,
I did too.
it goes a while without any, you know, feedback or any answers. So I'm just, you know, I don't know. I just don't want to get into a project if we're not going to be able to have any communication.
When is the date that this first project is done with Dubon?
Well, it's pretty much done. So,
So
but-
Tecton
The
is,
punch list, when the punch list is.
Yeah.
so when is Tecton contracted to, up to what point?
well, until the
The punch
completion of
list is
these
complete.
repairs, which would be your punch list.
So they're still under contract with us to be management for that?
Mhm.
Until the completion of the punch list, but they're under no contract to go any further than that.
Sure.
So, and we've asked them a few times, I mean, once we asked them if they would be, and they said they would have to let us know, then they said they would be, but we haven't gotten any, you know, feedback of like, this is what we're gonna cost you for, you know, just to be on administration, you know, type business, but we haven't gotten anything. So maybe we just hold off on that until we talk to Eric Almy and then see if we're just gonna go down to the project manager type role. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
So once they're done with the punch list, they're done, and then in terms of the repairs that are still needed or ongoing after that, who oversees them, the DPW director and the chief?
Well, I guess it depends how
Or
we're gonna
should we-
move forward. Like, if we're gonna move forward
Right,
with, I
that's
mean,
my question.
even project to project, we could still bring a project manager on board, and, you know, and they be, that's their project, you know, like what needs to go on next until we know exactly what we're doing with the Studio Meja plans, I would assume.
So there has been an extension of the pointing of the building, correct? So the general contractor is Dubon Masonry, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own project managers. They should be their own, and they should contact the customer, which is the town, on everything and how the project's going and whatnot.
Right.
So I think that would be Chris, would be
Yeah.
your contact.
And I think you're right. I think up until this point, because Tecton has been the first line of defense, they may not, they've been having Tecton oversee it as we have, right? So until the punch list is completed, technically Tecton is still on duty.
Exactly, and I would suggest I would call Rebecca or call Jeff and see what process they use for estimation,
Okay,
a company or whatnot.
okay,
Because it's a third party, it's not, you have the prints.
okay. I'll do that.
We're gonna, never mind, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right,
You're in vacation mode.
Not really, I wish I was.
wishing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I know where I was
Yeah.
going. So we're gonna have, we have the $1 million that was just, that we got the grant for. And my understanding is that, we're gonna get that in increments of $333,000 over the next, as soon as we're ready. Mrs. Zelinski, if I'm correct, there's just some more paperwork that just has to be taken care of, and then that we can start.
Yeah, I'm actually here to answer any questions on the energy efficiency grant as well as the $1 million
That's my-
pandemic relief.
Yeah,
They tie together,
okay.
which is a great thing. So if you have, would you like a brief synopsis of it?
Yeah, well, as soon as just let me make my point, because I seem to be forgetting it. The point is if we're gonna have we're gonna have to decide how we're gonna spend this $1 million, because that's gonna be separate from whatever else we're gonna do. If we're gonna go out to bond or whatever, that $1 million is gonna be separate. So wouldn't we need somebody like Tecton to oversee the project? If suppose we say that $1 million is gonna be used to fix the cells and build the Sallyport, wouldn't we need a Tecton to oversee that project and do the drawings and come up with do the drawings and to get that done? Because we just can't say somebody, go ahead and build us the Sallyport. We have to hire an architect to come up with a set of plans to do that.
Well, wouldn't we use the plans from Studio Meja?
They don't have a Sallyport.
No, they don't have a Sallyport, but you're saying like cells and stuff, but the the Sallyport, I'm sure if we did go into, to do their plans, I'm sure it would probably be cheaper just to have them add on a Sallyport at this point. I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's why I don't know. I guess we'd probably have to talk to
Well, I guess
Studio Meja.
the point is, the amount of money you're gonna get isn't enough to really sink your teeth into a project like the whole cell area in Sallyport, but you're gonna have to strategically spend it, in my opinion, so if in fact to decide on a full renovation, that it's incorporated and it's not a waste of money. So a Sallyport would be perfect because it's separated from the building, but I don't know the cost. And that's where a consultant on the committee would be great that deals with these construction projects, to counsel you at this point to say, this is where a clerk of the works is worth their weight in salt, because they've run these big projects and dealt with architects, general contractors, subs in towns and cities, and,
So I don't want to interrupt you, but I think we're going around with, I feel like we're going around and around. So I think what we need to do is find out what the cost is, and then if we can incorporate, and I have all the things, I think the administrator has them too, all the requirements of this grant, there is a match to it. We have to spend the money first, so we have to have a project in place.
Well, we're almost there.
We
We only have like 150,000 left in order to complete that match.
Right, so this was provided, I think
I can take, you want to take it?
the 50/50, go ahead.
Yeah, so the nice part about the energy efficiency grant, that was created to offset carbon concerns and the environment. So each municipality was granted, allocated $28,980. Let's just call it $29,000. So the administration applied for another 100,000, which we were given. So now we have $128,980 for improvements. Those improvements suggested to be for lighting, insulation, lighting, HVAC, something else, hot water heaters, that
Yep.
type of nature, right?
Yeah.
So that money can also be applied to the amount of money that the town spends. So roughly, we're sitting at about 700, there could be some updating going on. We spent about $720,000 on the project so far, so you add in that other $128,000, it'll be $898,000. So you're looking to increase, we could get $849,000, but we're looking for the full amount of $1 million. So if we spend $1 million, we will get $1 million. So I think that's the way, but there is a date where we have to obligate the funds. It's December 31st of this year. We have to say, what are we going to spend it on? Well, guess what? We've already spent it on a lot of soft costs. We spent it on masonry work. We're in very fine standing to have this happen. But it would be nice to spend the additional $150,000 to get the full $1 million. And there's a lot of work to be done. As recently as last week, the administration submitted another grant application to Congressman Ammo, hoping that we can get up to $500,000 for repairs at the police station. So those areas that were in the narrative that was created was to the consideration of a sally port, locker rooms, and dispatch. Now, $500,000 is not going to cover all three of those, but if we get cost estimates, which is what you're trying to get, now we have a starting point to say, if we're fortunate enough to get this grant approved by Congressman Ammo, now we know where that money can be directed, and we'll have plans for it. So we're in real fine shape. We just got to, let's keep doing what we're doing. We'll keep applying for grants. I won't steal the chief's thunder, but there's another grant coming down the road that we're looking at. There's actually two more coming down the road. And until it's more solid information, it's probably best I don't talk about it until we're really ready to execute.
So that 700,000 you're talking about, does that include the 85 that we just extended for Dubon?
Not sure. That's why I said there could be some outstanding. But as of last week, it was 720,000. So if
it could
that
be
80,000's in there,
800.
we're going to be in fine shape anyway to get the full $1 million. If you do any more repairs, because my understanding when Interlocal Trust and Gentleman Cruck and Madam Councilperson, the inspector for Interlocal Trust had some concerns about the outside walls on the side. So if we're going to start pointing those, which should be done,
Yep.
we're going to be at that $1 million mark in no time.
Yeah, that was approved, so.
That was that
Yeah.
85.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah.
was the, yeah,
Oh, that's the 80. Okay,
Right,
yeah,
right.
we're fine.
yeah.
There's the sides and the back.
Okay, so it all hinges on how much this is gonna cost and to have a plan. I mean, that's it, and if it boils down to the cost exceeding what we can do, then we use the $1 million, we use the 128 in the best ways we can.
Mhm.
That's it, so. But a plan has to come first, so let's try to get that. I'll try to get in touch with them as soon as possible so that we can, schedule another meeting and have all that approved, and
Yeah,
I think that's the only way to go, right?
yeah, I think so. All right.
Okay.
So did you want to wait to schedule a next meeting till after you talk to Eric Ami, or what do you want to do?
Nope, put pressure on me now.
Just to get him
Just
here?
schedule it, and I'll see what he can do, and today's, what, 18th?
Bring him to the next council meeting. Have him come to the council meeting. You'll get a higher audience
On the 6th?
if you're looking for public.
We could do that.
I mean,
It depends, as long as that meeting's not that long to begin with.
I'm wondering how long that is. Well,
otherwise do the second one. Because I don't think you're going to get anybody to come. I mean,
would we?
To what?
you're not going to probably get many people to come to, we've not really had many people attend these meetings.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if we just have you know, even if we're just us, right? To have a building committee meeting on another Thursday night, we could do that. And then bring it to the full council once we have the plan. I don't want to keep pushing it down, so it's up to you. So today's the 18th, we could do 2 weeks from today? Is that, what's that?
The second,
The
I won't be in town, but you can still. I have to move Kelsey out.
Oh, no. So the second, do you want to try the 9th? Or do you want to just stay with the second? Is there another date?
Everybody can be here.
I mean, the
Like the
9th should be
1st?
okay.
Is the 1st a Wednesday? Is that a bad day for you? Or,
She's gonna be away.
Well, I'm leaving on the 2nd, but the 1st I'll probably be late working because I'm out
Okay.
for 2 days.
okay, you want to do the 9th then?
Yeah, that would be fine.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, no, I'm gonna be
Council.
in Nashville. Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Nashville.
6th it is.
No.
When do you leave?
How about how about next week?
I mean, that would be fine with.
Yeah, that's
if-
fine.
If I can, so are you asking me to get him here or just information about an estimator? And so I'll call Jeff, I'll call Mr. Army, I'll get estimator, or do you want actually to have him here? It's not necessary to have him?
Can you guys do Wednesday? I can't do Thursday,
All right, so what date are we looking at?
the 24th.
I can do it.
Wednesday, the 24th?
Yeah.
Okay, can you do 24th?
Yeah, as long as it's 6:45 or later.
Okay, yeah, I just can't do it Thursday.
6:45, you said?
Can we do 7?
Works even better.
Sorry.
So, can we do 7 or no? Yes?
7's fine with me.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wednesday, April 24th, 7 PM is our next meeting. Okay,
Can I just ask the chief a quick question? Chief, this is your area of expertise, your prior career before you became an officer. You were mentioning before, and there's a formula, right? And we know what the square footage costs to build a police station. So couldn't we just kind of, at least get a rough idea, look at the plans, look at what the square footage is, and multiply it and come up with a number?
Yeah, I mean, they did it in this
We
book
did
for
it,
the
right?
the renovation Tecton did, but the difference between, which I love this layout, I mean, even if you build a house, you live in it, you sell it, you go to another house, there's always an after action. I should have put a door here or a room there, and this facing this way and that facing that way. So although the Studio Meja plan is good, like the way the cell area in this plan is set up a little better, but it's all square footage, so it's not gonna,
Right.
that doesn't change any price, so you're right. But, like I said, with this plan, there was an addition to the building in the corner where the dispatch center was, and this was designed based on conversations, you know, what Tecton's designed in the past with the sally port. So the Studio Meja one is within the curtain walls of the building without the sally port, which can easily be added in square footage, even taking off the plan here. But yes, that's what it all comes down to anyway. You know, it's the industry standard for that time of the economy, which, you know, now is high. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
And I know you've said it before, but I just can't remember what you said. With the cells, what's the issue with the cells? You said they're dangerous, right? Or,
Yeah, well, with the new style cells, they're not bars. You can't reach through. You can't reach
Okay.
up. They're very antiseptic. There's not much you can touch or do or hurt yourself. It has an encapsulated stainless steel toilet with water, because you need, through accreditation, you have to provide water for prisoners. It has, like I said, a solid door where you can view, but you can't see or hear other prisoners. So the juvenile men's lockup, the way they have it set up, it can be set up a little better because of those style cells. Yeah, a lot safer. And now they even have a lot of police departments they're building now. They have like almost a padded room, which is the high security, high level that someone may harm themselves kind of a cell.
So it's a full door with what, like a window?
It's a full door with a little access window, there's cameras, there's Cumberland has them, you know, all the new police stations that they build now, that's the design of the cell that they use nowadays. Especially even in the fingerprint room, like the telephones, everything now, the camera, where you have to take, you know, the intake photos, the fingerprint machine, everything is very antiseptic, stainless steel, nothing can be picked up and thrown away, everything's bolted down. It's, they're very well, you know, well designed for, you know, safety.
Anyone else?
So just so next week, so I think Paulette asked, so is it just timelines and, like, what are you gonna be asking, I guess? Or what are we gonna be talking about?
Your conversation with Eric, right?
So you want, I was planning, unless you want something different, to get in touch with him and Jeff, right? So we get 2 ideas on cost estimators, find out how much that would cost. Is that all you want?
I would still like to know if any part of those plans would still pass
Okay,
today's standards. And they may very well, but
okay.
I just think if we get into a point where it's 6 million and
So-
then we find out down the road that we have to reevaluate the plan because of a building code
Okay.
change or whatever, that's just gonna add extra costs. So
Okay.
it just would be good to know that up front. That's all.
Okay, what else?
So I might be oversimplifying things, yeah, but do we even really need to go down that road? Because can't we just get the square footage off those plans that we already have and just do the math and come up with a ballpark?
I mean, it's gonna be a ballpark, it's not gonna be a, I think if somebody's looking at plans, they're looking at every single room and they're making sure, like, you know, DJ said, something changed, now there's another cost associated with it that wasn't there in 14, I don't know. I think it's more of a secure way of looking at it and a definitive way, if we get somebody who does this for a living, to look at the plans again, and with somebody's eyes in 24, and say, okay, well, you know, that was okay in 14, but, you know, like.
Right, that's
like,
what,
you
but
know,
that's what how they derived that number of whatever they come up with the number today to build a police station, whatever it is per square foot. That's how they came up with that number with all the updates and all that other stuff. The square footage of the plans isn't changing. So I just think,
So you mean just take the square foot and then times like 8, whatever, say it's 800,
Yeah.
whatever?
yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't give you any of the, like the FF&E or any of that stuff. It would just actually be the shell, right?
No,
Well,
they-
the estimate is that's the beauty of what estimating company you use. Make sure that they do put all that in, you know, the management, the FFE, the contingencies, and the inflation.
I think there's value to have a cost estimator.
yeah.
I do too.
And you know, just as you're discussing this, and like the number that was thrown around by Tecton with renovation, if it's 50% over renovation, you have to have the building up to par, up to code for the standards of today. The standards, I mean, I'm sure some of them have changed, but they're not going to change the square footage price much.
No, I'm
I
not,
mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the handicap stuff and all that, electrical, structural, all those standards are based on those things, and I don't think that's really gonna change the number too much.
yeah. I
But
was
that's
just
why you
asking
get an
for-
estimator that looks at it, that knows all these things and says, okay.
Yeah, I just want to check the
And
box.
to
that's
be
all.
quite honest, like in this book that Tecton developed, they did have a breakdown of like asbestos and the roof, and those are key things to say, okay, if we renovated, we would have had done the roof, because if it was installed in 1980, then we were gonna replace it, and that's what our estimation is. Now, this is just, you know, updated information that, oh, okay, we'll write the roof out because it's done.
Right, and so that's the other thing,
Right.
that's the other thing.
But we're
What if
only
we already
talking
know?
a couple $100,000. I
Yeah.
mean, on
Well,
the scope of
yeah,
things.
yeah.
It helps.
And I say it like that because of the broad amount of the whole
Right.
project. But yes, it makes a difference.
So in those plans, if you recall, was the municipal court there, here? There?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a community room, it was called, but now it can be, again, it's not a perfect plan because we don't have EMA there. That, all those EMA offices that are in the back of that north side of the building can now extend the community room to be a training municipal court, can house more people, and we'll get extra storage and offices in the back of there, and then we can design it so we can connect to get to that section of the building, because it wasn't designed that way, because it wasn't ours, it was EMA on the second floor in the back there.
Okay.
So, and again, like the cell area, so those are little things, those are design things, like if you built a house and you started with a 3-bedroom ranch and the closet faced that way and the washroom was this way, so you kind of swapped them out because you liked the way it was better laid out. That's not a money changer, that's just you kind of shuffling the deck of square footage, like John said. It's all about the square footage and what you're putting into it, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, those, and again, Doug, those plans aren't perfect, and the number's not gonna be perfect, but you're gonna be in the ballpark to say, okay,
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
is
that we
it
check
palatable for the
box,
town
that's all.
to float a bond, and do we feel confident, everybody to stand behind it and put it out there
Right.
and get it voted
Right.
on? And I'll tell you what, a big sign, or you'll see, is the Gloucester bond. Now, that's going this September, I believe, and I don't know if they voted on new, I believe they're
They
going
voted
forward
on, yeah.
with a new building,
They
so
went forward with new.
you know, whatever happens there, I mean, you can kind of see how people are gonna vote and what that number is, right?
Yeah.
Not much from 18 to 17, but, you know.
Well, that's how we were with Tecton, right? Their renovation and their new build was not much of a
It's
difference.
the same thing in Gloucester, because
Yeah,
that's
so-
what it comes out to.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so our next meeting is when?
Next week.
Our next meeting is Wednesday, 4/24 at 7 PM.
Okay. All right, anyone have any other go-backs or anything?
No, I think
All
I'm
right.
good.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.